morning, everyone, and welcome to American Scousers Morning Coffee or Tea with American Scouser. It is Friday, Reckless Friday. It is, and Reckless Coffee, as always, we're brought to you by Reckless Coffee Roasters, and Kazi's with us. What is happening?
I'm good, brother. Yeah, I thought I was going to have a nice, quiet summer, but it doesn't look like that way, does it? You know what I mean? It doesn't look that way.
Not really. I mean, it's weird because I kind of expected it to be hectic because of the Euros. So I do think it is more action because that's what you're referring to, right? There's just a lot happening. There's not this lull.
There's not this lull before the Euros where I could have a bit of a break. It's like, oh no, like I turn on like something every day and I just see Mo Salah with a baldy head because he shaved his hair off. I don't know if you've seen this morning. Mo Salah shaved his hair off, and that was what I woke up to. And I'm like, I find him more attractive. I'm a very straight man, but I still find him more attractive now. Thank you, Mo.
Really? No, I actually thought that was more like Mo with all his money is getting new hair because he was kind of like balding, which is not a good look when you have like the mini.
Maybe he's getting a new hair. Maybe he's went to.
That's what I'm guessing. If his hair comes out thicker and lusher, I'm gonna be even more suspicious.
Comes out with a ponytail by the start.
Yeah, he's like flying to Turkey for a little bit, on his way to Egypt or something like that. You know,
there's a few comments saying he's trying to make Arne Slot feel welcome just by shaving his head off. So we'll find out. Who knows?
Oh man, so a lot to get to in terms of like weird management stuff, and I can understand this kind of makes sense in a way, right? The manager carousel is going to happen before the player carousel in some ways because you want the guy getting his own people as opposed to what some clubs do, which is kind of ass backwards of getting the players first. I mean, I don't even know where to start. Let's start with this. I think this is the most shocking one to me. Is Vincent Kompany being in this much of a demand? I guess is like the first thing. I don't. If you are a Bayern fan, like like we have fans complaining about, getting slots. Like he's how much experience does he have and stuff like that. That's like the biggest knock on him, right? I mean, what would people think if we got, for example, Vincent Kompany as your manager?
On the back, I don't know. It's just
like just think about the chaos.
It feels like I've had like a 10-year save on Football Manager. Do you like when you're 10 years into like a season on Football Manager and then Kompany gets a job at Bayern Munich? That's what it feels like. I don't know how this has happened. Listen, let's get it right. It's team in the Championship with excellence. I think they got 100 points. I can't remember, but they basically dominated the Championship. I thought they'd do well and stay in the Premier League. He very much stuck to his guns in terms of playing style. He would not change his playing style, like not even close. The one thing I would say though, mate, I wasn't really impressed with much of his signings there, like in this season at least. Because let's get it right. I'm assuming Vincent has all the decisions on the signings that come into Burnley, especially when he gets promoted to the Premier League. I wasn't really impressed with James Trafford getting signed. That looked like a bit of a waste of money. So, yeah, I don't know, Tim. I don't know what to think about this.
What would you think if we got him? Because, I mean, here's the thing. You're saying Championship, but we have fans poo-pooing the Dutch League. Is the Championship better than the Dutch League?
Is the Championship better than the Dutch League? No.
You know what I mean?
I do, and I'll tell you why. I do think there's a part where winning a top major league and playing in European football is different to playing in the Championship. And if you actually look at the 3 teams that just got promoted from the Championship this time and got relegated, they're absolutely garbage. All 3 of them. And all 3 of them went back down. And I think they went down with like the lowest points tally. I think you could have got like 28 points and stayed in the Premier League, which is like, remember that thing when you were growing up? It was like it was the magic 40-point mark.
Yes.
And now the quality's just getting lower and lower and lower and lower. Where you can go, actually, no, I think Everton stayed the last year on like 34 points when they beat Bournemouth.
Somewhere around there. It was 30s, that's for sure.
It was in the low 30s. So there's a part here. The team to come up from the Championship is not as good anymore. And I know people are saying about the quality and stuff like that, but I don't believe that at all. Because the teams are not showing that they can stay in the league long term. If you actually look at the season before that, when Forest came up, Forest fucking signed a completely new squad to stay up and did it. Do you know what I mean? So the teams that are actually coming up now, if you actually look at Leicester, Leicester look actually like probably the ones in the last few years who look like the best equipped to be like a lower 10 Premier League side. Because if you actually look at Leicester with Connor Cody, Harry Winks, Ndidi, Vardy, that's actually a very good, structure. I'm the biggest Dewsbury Hall fan in the world, as people know.
Yes, we know. Yeah.
They actually have a team. I think Ricardo Pereira could still be there as well, I think. But there's actually a team there where you look and go, well, they've only had one season in the Championship. They've been promised one season, we'll get back up, and they have done that. I don't expect them to go down next year. But if you look at Ipswich doing back-to-back promotions from League One, and then the Championship side, Southampton look like a good side. Leeds, maybe. But the rest that are coming up to them, I don't think the quality's there anymore. I don't know about you. But I feel like
the biggest problem I see is all these championship teams survive and do well in most cases, not all, but relying on loaned players. So the guys who sometimes brought you there were gone when you get there because they go back to Chelsea, they go back to City or whatever.
Yeah,
when I look at like Hull City, for example, where we have guys, right? If Hull City came up and we took Morton and Carvalho back, you just took that spine of the midfield and attacking line. And I think that's like one of the reasons why they struggle. And then it's like now you got to get new guys, and it's not as easy. It is not Football Manager where you can get new guys and just plug them right in. It takes time, and Premier League is not a place where you can settle in players kind of a thing. I think that's a challenge.
It's a good point made about the loan thing, because if I remember correctly, I think Forest had 4 players on loan when they got promoted, and they all went back to their clubs, I think. So they had to sign new players, and they had players leaving on a free transfer. And so it is difficult, bro. And again, especially when you've been in the Championship a long time, because you can't get you haven't got that parachute money to get you straight back up. If you actually look at the top 6 that finished, Ipswich are the outliers. All the rest have kind of been in the Premier League in the last 4 or 5 years. With Southampton, Leeds, West Brom, Leicester, they've all, you know what I mean? So they've all got that parachute money. When you've been in the Championship 2 or 3 years, that money runs out. So they've kind of still got higher end players where they can say to Vardy and Ndidi, just stay here for the year, we'll pay you the good dough for the year because you've got all this money coming down. Yeah. If it doesn't happen, then of course we'll give you transfers out. You've attracted Connor Cody, which was a great bit of business, do you know what I mean? To get him in through the door and stuff like that. So maybe you're right, brother, maybe you're right. But yet the teams that have come up this season, bro, I don't think the quality's there. That's why all 3 have went back down. And again, that's why
that's been a theme, right? Like it's almost like we're shocked if the one who comes in ends up like not even in the relegation battle. That's really rare. But then in the battle, and then when they survive the battle, we're almost like little shocked. We're also shocked when Anand can make it on time or can fix his technical difficulties. We are going to permanently transfer you to the Thursday night crew because that's what we technical difficulties. And you have like a chirping sound in your background. The bird is in the house.
So wait, am I?
Or are those cicadas in the background?
Do I have the chirping?
You have the chirping.
Okay. See, I don't even know what's happening. It's my Twitter account going off. I don't know what's happening.
Tweeting? Like
I'm tweeting. That's the chirping. No, I'm not sure what's happening.
That's how much of a troll Anand is. It's just
it's just in the background. I don't know what's been going on. I got on and my camera wasn't moving. Like I was freezing, but everything else was going. So I had to. I guess that's why I should be in a little earlier. But I took advantage of this Friday and I slept in because I haven't had any sleep for a couple of days.
Your chirping is constant, by the way.
Yeah.
What does it sound like? Let's make him chirp.
I'm not going to start chirping, am I?
Hey, come on, somebody chirp. No, is it?
What do you want us to do here? It sounds like.
Okay, that's what I'm looking for. The
It sounds like an MRI for fucking Thiago's hip going off.
Is that better?
It sounds like he's having an MRI.
Okay. See, as soon as you said that, I figured out what to do.
Multitasking.
As soon as you said that, I figured out what to do.
The MRI for Thiago. Yeah. That's better.
By the way, this is a good point. But even despite coming with negative points, I have more confidence in Leicester staying, probably because Kazi, that base is still there.
Yeah,
that has the Premier League experience. I guess the question though is that base too freaking old now to stay in the Premier League?
No, because I still think they'll make signings, of course, but I think it's 5 points actually. I'm pretty sure it's 5 points they might start on. But I still think the base is there where I still expect that team to get 45 points, which basis of what's happened previously, with again based on last season, that would be comfortable mid-table. Do you know what I mean? Like so I still expect them to be there or thereabouts. Vardy looks like he's probably got one more year and stuff like that. Ndidi, I know, but there's also a part where experience tells as well. You know what I mean? I'd sign Dewsbury Hall tomorrow, but I still expect them to go out and get 3-4 top quality players. You'd be looking at that Burnley team with like players like Lyle Foster and stuff, wouldn't you? And go, you could do a bit of business for me. You know what I mean? I'd look at Ross Barkley, for example, at Luton and go, fucking hell. Imagine Ross. Ross Barkley's been excellent for Luton, by the way. Really good this season. I thought he's my alternative.
Villa is after him, right? I heard.
And he was at Villa. He was at Villa in the lockdown season. People forget he was on loan at Villa. But maybe Unai Emery's a fan, who knows? But if you look at players like that as well, where you go, well, if Leicester, can he sneak Carvalho out of Liverpool again? On loan, Premiership experience. Do you know what I mean? So there's things going around there where you can look and go, okay, there's types of players that Leicester could sign maybe.
But we came to this conversation, obviously, because of like freaking Company and his championship experience on taking him possibly, looking more and more likely. When I first read it, I laughed like as a rumor, but it's very likely. How the hell does that happen? Or like, what is Bayern looking at and saying, that's why we want him?
Yeah, see, this one still confuses me. His only experience is in the championship. His Premier League experience was horrendous. So I'm not sure what they're looking at. I don't know if they're looking at a cheaper route. I don't know if they're looking at, I don't know if you guys are noticing, but this offseason, a lot of the managers that our names are coming up are the new wave of managers. It's not the same old classic managers that we know. So maybe they're looking at a brand new wave of managers, just like, Liverpool did. And just like everybody that looked at Amorim, and that's like everybody that's looking at all these guys, they want to be unique, different, have a new kind of guy that's youthful, young, former player. I'm not sure. I just don't get it. And I think it's going to be a major regret for Bayern. But the ceiling in Bayern is high. But when it comes to the league, it's only one other team that you got to compete with. It used to be Dortmund. Now it's Leverkusen. So he could still go out there, win the league, and be this next big thing by doing absolutely fuck all. So I don't know. I just think it's a lot of pressure on him.
The locker room, like, and that Bayern locker room, right? Like, which player in the Bayern locker room is being like, thank God, Company is here.
Like, Leroy Sané, he's playing with him.
What's up, bro? Like, yeah, I just want to understand who's going to be over there to get his message as a manager. You can respect his career as a player, but who's going to like really be receptive his message as a manager with his experience?
I'll tell you this,
especially looking at the experience of the players in the locker room. It's a bit easier to get people to listen to you at Burnley, but it's a different story when you go to like Bayern or Real or something like that. And everybody in that locker room is like established players with experience and stuff like that, been there, done that, won this and stuff like that. And then here comes Company and we're like, I'll tell you guys what you guys are doing wrong. Who's going to be receptive to that?
I'll tell you this, Thomas Müller is not going to be happy. That I know for sure. He's a very, very picky guy. He's very picky with his managers. He's had bust ups with Tuchel. He's just not an easy guy to convince, so he's not going to be happy. So we'll see how that goes. I just think this is a big mistake on Bayern's end, and this isn't to be controversial or nothing. I just don't think Company has that experience to take a big team like Bayern just yet. Maybe in 5 years, maybe in 4 years, but second season as a manager in the Premier League, gets relegated. Third season as a manager, he's managing quite possibly one of the biggest European powers to ever exist. That's weird, but they see something we don't, so I don't know.
Is Leverkusen the outlier though? Like,
is Leverkusen what?
Is Leverkusen the outlier for this with Alonso, where it's Alonso's first big job and then he's just won the league undefeated? So are they the outlier these days? When I know what you're saying, Tim.
I think it's different. Like it's Leverkusen, right? Like you're like trying to.
I mean, in terms of like, I know what you're saying because you're trying to get to that stage, and I get what you mean. But there's a part where we're saying, well, it's only his third full season, but that was only Alonso's first technically big job, you would say. Do you know what I mean? And what he's done. Maybe Bayern are looking at it going, well, we just need a guy who's just a young, fresh man with fresh ideas, and maybe Bayern want to rip it up. Maybe Bayern might, you know what, just let's rip this up and just start again with a young manager who we can back for 5 years, get rid of your Goretzkas and your Mullers and get all these older guys out who've been there for 10 years maybe. I don't know what they're thinking, but maybe I'm just trying to think what Bayern are seeing. Do you know what I mean? What are Bayern seeing? Why are
that's
Bayern
the challenge?
That's what I'm saying. So maybe they're thinking again, just to rip it up and start again.
But I think the difference is when you get Alonso to Leverkusen, like, when you're going to Bayern, there's no like, oh, that was a good season if you didn't win the title. Whereas if Alonso went to Leverkusen and got into the Champions League and he was third, nobody's going to be like, oh, this Alonso guy doesn't know what he's doing. Or, I mean, he's not going to be questioned. It's going to be regarded as a solid season. Took us to the Champions League. We're third behind Dortmund and Bayern or something like that. Whereas you become in charge of Bayern, there's only one result that's expected because you win every goddamn year. So you should go back to winning ways.
Yeah, I may be. They want them in the Champions League. Let's get it right. And let's get it right. They were very unlucky not to be in the Champions League final against Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Real Madrid do what Real Madrid do and score late. The problem is, I think, with Bayern, I think they ended up third. I think Stuttgart overtook them on the last day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they finished third. I'm sure Stuttgart beat them on the last day.
Which I guess, they're going to the Champions League either way, so they don't care probably.
But... Yeah. But I mean, it's Bayern. When was the last time Bayern finished third?
Yeah, no shit.
Do you know what I mean? So maybe they're just thinking, you know what, we got to rip it up and just start again.
But if you like you said, you're just this close from the Champions League final, do you say, let's rip this up?
It's hard, isn't it? It's hard, but if you look at players like Musiala and Sane and Kane, it's not a bad thing to go off, is it? To go, well, you know what, maybe they'll just still get us over the line for the top four with Kingsley Coleman and you got Alphonso Davies, who were still kind of relatively young players.
Yeah.
Goretzka's been there a while. Muller, of course, has been there a while. Neuer's been there a while. Kimmich, you know what I mean? You start looking and think, fucking hell, that team, they've got players that have been there 10 years. Do you know what I mean? It's crazy to think. So
we go snatch somebody up, Kazi. Who are you snatching up from those old guys?
If I could take anyone, we must Musiala, but I don't think they'll sound to us.
Oh, well, no. I was thinking like one of the guys they would want to get rid of. They're not let Musiala go out.
It probably is Goretzka's the right answer. I think it probably is Goretzka who's the right answer.
More for like need than anything else, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Upamecano. I don't think they're the biggest fan of Upamecano because you wouldn't sign Eric Dyer on loan. You wouldn't sign Eric Dyer on loan. Yeah, I don't know. Listen, if there's going to be a fire sale, then of course you start looking into it, don't you? But Lehmer had a really good stint at Leipzig. I think Lehmer played really well against us when we played them a couple of years ago. Conrad Lehmer, but who knows?
Who are you taking, Anand?
I'm taking Goretzka. We should have had Goretzka 5 years ago.
Well, that's the only thing. It's not like Edwards like signing, mind you, but I'm just throwing.
This is like the most delayed signing ever, like Goretzka. Like I know you guys wanted him 5 years ago. Fuck, surprise! I thought about this too. Come on, you guys remember when everybody was tweeting John Henry, Royce? Royce is a free agent. John Henry should just like pull like the funniest thing ever, sign him, and then reply to the tweets from 2015, say okay,
Because John Henry, I don't know if everyone's ever been through his likes. He doesn't like anything really. Yeah, one of his last likes is Sam Royce, and he liked the tweet.
So you should kind of say okay and be like, sorry for the delay. I just saw it. Like yeah, sorry, internet down in the US, and just fucking do it. That would be like the funniest thing ever. I've been thinking about this for so long. And I'm like, what if we sign Royce as a free agent and John Henry just quotes those tweets and says okay and just announce Royce? Like that'd be the best thing up. Not gonna happen, but
Michael Edwards' head to fall off if he sees anyone over the age of 30. Well, yeah.
Okay, Manager Carousel continues. We're going to talk a lot of managers today. So United have decided to sack, according to this report right here, and we'll talk about it in a little bit. McKenna from Ipswich is one of the guys they're looking at because obviously he has a connection to the league and stuff like that. But let's start with this Ten Hag thing first. Are you shocked? Is that the right move for them, Kazi?
Yes.
If you're a United fan.
I think it is the right move. Is it the right move to do this now? Absolutely not. And whoever thought, and whoever that leak is who's got this out into the open 24 hours before the cup final in your derby is a disgrace to the football club. And if you found the leak personally, you wouldn't have a job anymore. Because listen, owners have to take steps in place to benefit the football club. They can't think day to day, and I understand that completely. Yeah. But there's a part where you need to find out who got this out and leaked, and you need to plug this leak as soon as possible because this is a disgrace. And now that the lad's lost his job on the eve of a cup final and the cup final preparations. Let's get it right. To win the FA Cup is still a huge deal. It's a huge deal to win the and by the way, to stop City
For
doing
them,
it.
especially going to Europe and stuff. Yeah.
Mate, it's massive. And to beat City in an FA Cup final, imagine beating Everton in an FA Cup final, like we did it in the 80s, of course. But I think it's a disgrace, though. I think in terms of the club to move them on, yes, I do think it's right. I think United finished 8th in the end on their lowest ever points tally in Premier League history. So I do think it's the correct decision to move them on, but the timing has just made me sick, to be honest. And I really hate modern football.
My only thing, and we were talking about this in the pre-match before we went on air with Kazi. I don't know what's your take on this. I almost took it as, are there players in that squad who might, throw the fight, if you will, just to get rid of Ten Hag? And this way the club is saying, you guys don't have to throw the game. He's going to be fired anyway.
I just don't think so. I don't know. I know it sounds like a good theory, but it just sounds, it's nearly impossible. Yeah. I'm happy he's getting fired because now we've only got the bald Dutchman in the league when it comes to managers. So I'm very happy with that. But to do it, this is, Spurs did this to Mourinho before the final.
Yeah.
But they actually sacked him, didn't even let him go through with the final. This is more insulting because he has to go through with the final. What if he throws the game now? This is horrible timing. And this is Jim Ratcliffe, whatever he is. I put this on him.
Yep.
He's doing this to show the fans, see, I'm doing stuff for you, even though we're before a final. I'm showing you there's change. And this is the worst way to kiss fans' ass. As it's just the stupidest thing ever. And I feel bad for Ten Hag. I really do. Because, the guy's absolute ass for United. But to do this before the final is, especially 4 days after he came out and said, yeah, I'm good. I'm going to be here next season. I had a meeting with the owners. And now you do this to him. It's kind of like, I think the only worst thing was the company 3 days ago releasing a video on the Burnley Twitter page about how good of a season it is and what next season looks like while he's fucking negotiating with Bayern. What is going on?
Yeah. I think there's a part of it.
Shit, by the way, for United, is Ten Hag shit for, has he done that?
I think United are shit for Ten Hag. I think United are shit for any manager that comes in there. And I feel for McKenna because if he goes there, he's going to have a shit season. And the reason is, well, we tried. He just came from the championship. He doesn't have that. Man, that team is a cancer. And I despise them. So I'm just going to go off now. So let's just move on from
Listen, if you look at the Ten Hag United thing, he hasn't set them up tactically to be updated tactics for 2024. He plays football like it's 96. And that's an issue. So it's basically kids running around with headless chickens. If you actually watch football from 25 years ago, the quality is absolutely horrific. I don't care how good the players were. It was horrific quality. Now, in terms of United here, and this is what, even just based on, I'm not even going off last season, you can't go 1-0 and 2-1 down to an already relegated Sheffield United at home. You cannot do that. You can't lose 3-0 at home to Newcastle in the EFL Cup. You can't lose to Copenhagen. I think you would 2-0 up away at Galatasaray and draw 3-3.
Yeah.
I think this.
Did they lose to Galatasaray at home? Or did they tie?
Yeah, Zaha scored, didn't he? Yeah, because Wilfred Zaha scored. You can't lose to Palace at home under Roy Hodgson in September. Not the Palace now, the Roy Hodgson Palace. Do you know what I'm saying? So there's parts of, and that, by the way, that's not even going off last season when you lose 6-3 to City and Liverpool beat you 7-0, and it wasn't Liverpool's best team. So there's part of this conversation where there's certain outliers of fixtures when you go, you're a Man United manager, you can't get away with this. You can't keep churning this shite out. We're Newport County 2-0 up against them this season in the cup, I think, or 2-1. Where it's getting to the stage where it's embarrassing. Like, I think Bournemouth, didn't they draw? When they 2-0 to Bournemouth, and they drew 2-2. I think this is all kind of coming back to me a little bit, but there's arguments where that's not good enough for Man United, and Man United need to change. I do believe the change. He sets them up poor tactically. Like, go back to Klopp. I know it's hard this, but you go back to Klopp and even Pep in his first season made right. They had a style of play automatically implemented, but they got big results early on. I say this all the time. When Klopp first come in, Liverpool go to Chelsea and win 3-1. You go to City and win 4-1. Yeah. So Liverpool have you've got a basis to hold on to early doors to go, well, we see where we're going with this because we've seen it happen. Okay, you're still going to drop points along the way. You're going to lose the League Cup final, Europa League and stuff. So you're still going to drop these points along the way. But we've seen the small outliers of going, Oh, and that's how he wants to play. When Liverpool go 3-0 up at the Etihad inside half an hour, which, by the way, is the outlier for 5 years of success of Liverpool just battering teams early doors and winning games. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
With Ten Hag, bro, there's nothing feasible to hold on to. Even his League Cup win. Listen, he's won a trophy. I'm not arguing that. They had Loris Karius in goal, Newcastle. Do you know what I mean? It's like, so you've had outliers there because Nick Pope gets suspended. People forget Pope gets sent off against Liverpool for the handball outside the area.
Yeah, and that's right. Yeah, we even said, damn it, we set him up. Yep.
We set him up. You know what I mean? So there's outliers there. I just feel like a style of play in 2024 is not suited. And I think they need a tactical manager who can really get them over the line in terms of competing again. I think they actually need a stage where they just need a Conte or they need a Tuchel for 3 years just to come in and win something or just compete at the highest end again. I actually think they need that more than like, because let's get it right. I know what you're going to say about the McKenna thing and we can get onto that. The McKenna thing is, well, we're 8th right now. What's the target next year for McKenna? Champions League.
Just stay in the league.
Yeah.
Well, it's Champions League football, isn't it? The pressure's already on the lad to go, okay, well, you've got to make this jump. You don't think Spurs are going to get better? You don't think Villa are going to get better? Liverpool are going to get better? You know what I mean? It's like, but if you just do a Tuchel and you go, well, you know your job, you have to get Champions League and you've done this before for us, just get back in there and do it as way possible. I think that was the way home here. When you're doing McKenna, it feels like we're doing a complete reset and you're going to have 3-4 years of just shite. And then eventually we'll see.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I
think is that maybe, I mean, I know what you mean, and it does make sense. And maybe that's why they're doing it in a way, because they're like, okay, we're starting all over with like the Sir Ratcliffe and stuff like that, you know, like forget everything you know about United. We're kind of like start from the beginning. And I think that's been the problem with Ten Hag is every time you feel like, okay, they're going, he's had those games that you're mentioning, which sends you back to starts, you know, do not collect kind of a deal. Because I think that's what happens. You feel like, okay, we just went back to where we were because they like those poor results. You can lose points here and there and stuff like that and maybe lose against a rival and stuff. But some of those results have been so horrific that it puts you all the way back. And I think he's been there with the squad. I don't think the squad is believing in the move forward. But I think, you know, let's get to McKenna. So him going over there, to me, Anand, is more about, I guess partially could be what, you know, Kazi's saying. They're using it because if we're saying it, then the fans are going to say, you know what? Okay, we got to give him a couple of years at least. You know, they're buying themselves time as opposed to maybe bring in one of those big names because then now you're saying we got to do it right now. And I feel like they don't bring a guy like Conte because he's going to get to the press conference and say what he wants to say. Whereas, you know, McKenna is going to go out there and they give the company line. And I think that's why they're bringing McKenna, and it's probably a good candidate because he knows the shit show and he knows the mechanics of the club that he's going into on.
Yeah, but so when Jim or whatever, when Ratcliffe invested all this money in United, he promised an instant change. I'm going to spend, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Do the fans really want to take time off to quote unquote rebuild and wait a few years, or do they want instant results? I feel like based on what this investment, when it came in, it was promised that it's going to come with instant results, right? Are they going to want to wait for McKenna? Is it going to work out or not? Now, listen, he's a company man, and you know he's been there at United with the U18 or U21s, whichever one. But is that what United fans see will take them forward? I don't think so. One of my close buddies, we're talking about this, and he's like, I don't know what the fuck they're doing with McKenna if he comes in. We want a proven name that'll lead us to win things right away versus it's going to work out in a few years. He's still young. He still is. So I feel like when we were looking at managers and Xabi Alonso, everybody was so interested in Xabi Alonso, even though he is in the same boat as McKenna, minus now Alonso was winning the league in Germany and going undefeated. But we were okay with him because we saw that playing style and we're like, okay, we're ready for a refresh. But I don't think United needs a refresh. I think they need instant results because they were promised a refresh with David Moyes when Ferguson picked them. And then they were promised a refresh with Ole. And then they were promised a refresh with Mourinho. And then, of course, when Ten Hag came, it was like the big thing. He's coming from Ajax, this super proven manager. They also didn't get the refresh. Are they still going to wait for a guy to take his time and build? I don't think so. I think they want instant results. If I was a United fan, I want instant results. We're the second most valuable team in the world. We now have one of the richest owners in the world, minus the oil money. Why aren't we grabbing a guy that's proven that's going to win things? It's not McKenna.
I mean, I know money talks, but which proven guy?
Yeah.
Okay, like think of a guy like Tuchel, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I realize now he's like the village bike or whatever, but still, if you're Tuchel, you can be like, do I take the money? Like, I can understand why McKenna, despite being on the top, bringing Ipswich up and up again and stuff, can say this is probably my only shot at getting United or getting a team at the level of United in terms of how big of a club is. Whereas Tuchel can say, you know what, nah, I'm going to pass on this one because in 3 months, somebody else is going to knock on the door.
Yeah, I think the McKenna one, we'll get to Tuchel. The McKenna one happens or it works or United fans get buy-in depending on the summer. If they go out and clear 9 players, then you can get buy-in. But if you're going to keep your Maguire and your Martials and just garbage, if you go and do a big thing and sell Rashford, let's just say they sell Rashford, then you go, fucking hell, you can get buy-in straight away and you go, all right, I can see what you're doing. If you do McKenna and you only do, and Maguire still knocking about and, other these kind of garbage players basically, and Casemiro's still there and stuff like that, and you look and go, you can't get buy-in on this young lad to do it. But again, if you do go out and clear 9 out, and bring in 5 good lads young lads who fans can get on board with. Let's get it right. When I think FSG did try this a little bit with Brendan when he wanted to do a refresh, but they fell into. Then Brendan walks in. He has that really mad first season when it's all a bit crazy, and then Liverpool win the last 6 of that season, and then go on and nearly win the league. But then he also falls into a formation with Sturridge and Suarez, and you might just fall into something. I do think FSG have tried it a little bit, and I think if you go for the Ineos way of like, well, we'll just rip out 9, get 5 good lads in, and just see what happens. We'll get Højlund on the ball more, and we'll keep Bruno because he's the only one who can create anything. And you go out and make a few clever, shrewd bit of business like Coutinho for £8 million, and you make those type of players. Then maybe you can get on board. Going back to the Tuchel thing, the one thing I'd say about Tuchel is that you feel like he can compete with a Pep. I'm not saying he's on the level of Pep and Klopp. I'm not saying that, but he's level below.
Yeah,
let's get it right. He's an elite football manager still. Again, he's a few kicks of a football away from playing in the Champions League final.
But that's why I think he gets like better offers, better situations, I should say, than United.
Okay, so let's just say yes, situations, because let's get it right. But there's also a belief in yourself to go in and go, well, I can change that football club around, and it's one of the biggest football clubs in the world, and I can change that around because that's what you've got to believe in yourself. You've got to believe that in yourself, though. What's a better offer than United? Like, let's get it right for Tuchel. What's a better, bigger football club than United? There's no one bigger. If he's going to he's been at Chelsea, won the Champions League.
Yep.
Like, so who's the bigger football club? The argument is here, if you're United, there's an in-between between Tuchel, McKenna, there's Poch. So there's like an in-between where you go, oh, you can compete there because we've seen you do it, but also you're good with young lads and you're good at building squads. So there's actually an in-between there. You know what I mean? Where they just go, just do Poch and just let's all go from there.
And
didn't
they want Poch like 2 seasons ago? Or right
they've
before
wanted him since he was his second season in Tottenham. They've been wanting him.
Yeah. When it was a toss-up between Ten Hag and Poch, it was a coin toss. And he went with Ten Hag. Do you know what I mean? So there's a part there where the Glazers actually interviewed him. You know what I mean? And they go deep with him. But I know says he's coming there, but Barcelona, I'm sorry, but Man United are a bigger football club than Barcelona. I know people might not like to hear that, but they are. Like, the Man United are a massive football club, and they are one of the biggest in the world. They're alongside Real Madrid and Liverpool, in my opinion. And you know what I mean? So, who knows? Who knows? But all I see is that if I was United right now, there's a part where you go, we've been through this shit for 10 years. Let's just get all this fucking garbage out of the football club, and let's just get McKenna in and just let's build for 5 years. But who knows?
Barcelona are probably the biggest clown show in the world. Xavi says he wants out. Xavi says, I'm done at the end of the season. Like, please stay. He's like, no. So 2 weeks ago, he's like, you know what? I'll take a pay cut. I'm going to stay. Today, they tell him, you know what? Never mind. You're fired. We're getting Hansi
fired,
Flick.
by the way.
Yeah. We're getting Hansi Flick. So you're good to go. And he's like, but I just said I'm staying. They're like, it's okay. Hansi Flick is coming. So have a great day. And it's the most awkward shit show ever. So put that out there, fuck Barcelona, because that is absolutely disrespectful. Yeah. You know, imagine we do this. Steven Gerrard turns into an elite manager, comes in and where he's like, I'm leaving. I'm just not doing good enough for the club. I love this club. I'm out. The club's like, no, please, you're a legend. He's like, okay. And then at the end of the season, like, yeah, fuck off. We're getting Tuchel. Like, that's just the weirdest thing ever. I think Man United need to go for Poch It makes absolute sense. They have wanted him since his second season at Tottenham. They've been going crazy for him. They tried to poach him, poach, and it just didn't work out. So I don't understand why you would go for McKenna. No disrespect to McKenna, by the way, but I'd like to see him stay in his team and play the Premier League and see what he can do next season. Because listen, even if they go down, he's guaranteed a shot at a big job before the end of the season. He still has that shot. He can and listen, if he doesn't get the United job, who says he doesn't get the Villa job? Who says he doesn't get the Spurs job? Hello, Newcastle. He can have all these jobs that he's going to have backing. United don't need to go for a up-and-coming manager. They need to go for a world-class manager with a proven record in the big leagues so they can compete. I don't want United competing. I love them struggling, but imagine how interesting the league would be next season if even United at their best. So now you've got the newcomers of Newcastle. You've got Tottenham who are going to improve under their manager. You've got, I think West Ham are going to be a force to be reckoned with next season because Julian Lopetegui is one of the best managers in the world. I wanted him at Liverpool, but we didn't even make a shot for it. He was already agreeing with West Ham. But that team is going to be dangerous. So there's the top 4 next season, as of right now, looks like a top 10. And we got to figure out who makes the top 4. And I don't have United in that list just yet because they don't have a proper team. They don't have manager. And literally what Kazi said, with the players that they have, dude, it's an aging squad with people that are just there for a paycheck. Casemiro came in as the best holding midfielder in the world, and now he is just a kebab sandwich shop owner because like he's doing absolutely nothing other than collecting a big paycheck. That team needs a whole restructure, and you don't do it with an upcoming yes sir kind of manager. You do it with a guy that knows how to run a football club as big as United.
There's a part though, Tim, right? If you're United, let's say, because I think this is interesting. You just want to bring the fun back again. I don't know about you guys. One of the most fun I've had watching Liverpool is the 18-19 season. Sorry, the 17-18 season when Salah gets 44 goals. It was the most fun ever. We lose in Kiev. It was such a laugh watching them. And there's a part of that where you go, well, we can see what's happening and where we're going, but there's also a part of having a laugh. And I'd be, Man United just doesn't look like it's a load of fun right now. And there's a part where you get, for the fans, you've got to get Sutton on board, and you have to get a manager on board who's going to bring the fun back. So I agree with everything that Andrew said, by the way, about the McKenna thing, and I would do Poch. But there's also a part, if you just go and get a load of lads who are like a load of a laugh, and they're a bit of fun, and they're all kids, and they're all, and say United finish 6th next year, but they score 79 goals and concede 52, and they finish 6th. And everyone goes, that was a laugh. We had a load of fun there, and Højlund gets 25.
But are you having a laugh because you also at the same time see improvements? You see the new players coming in making an impact. Like you see a future within whatever's happening.
Exactly. But the issue is with McKenna is if you don't do those signings and you don't clear out the shit that you don't want to look at anymore. I don't want to see Wan-Bissaka. I don't want to see Maguire or Casemiro play footy for my club anymore. I don't want to see Scott McTominay still getting rolled out. I don't, just get them gone and get a load of lads in that we just love to watch. Again, that 17-18 season, it was the biggest fun ever. I remember going to Watford on the first day, and I think we drew. We took the lead, and it was just mad. And Salah was fantastic to watch. And
yeah, that's the one that he just was like dancing in the box.
Yeah, but the fun came back, didn't it? The fun came back, and we all loved to watch them. We couldn't wait to wake up and watch them. Do you know what I mean? And there's a part I feel United and going, it's been fucking boring for 10 years watching Van Gaal and Mourinho, and I need something to grab hold to. Again, going back to, I see Ryan's comment there about McKenna saying, it could hurt his career, but at least he's fucking backing himself. He's backing himself. That's my thing with Alonso.
A guy like McKenna might never get this chance again. I know what Anan is saying.
I agree with that.
Going to, Newcastle, blah, blah, blah. This is United.
It's the same with Alonso.
Yeah. You gotta roll that chance. You can always come back to Ipswich, right? Ipswich will take you back in like 6 months if you wanted to come back. But these opportunities come once in a blue moon. And I know what you're saying in terms of like backing himself. Screw the backing himself. I personally take it as this is my only one shot. It's now or never. Because you always talk about Kazi, about the kids in the FA Cup, right? I mean the League Cup. Like they might never be at Wembley ever again. You gotta take the chance and go out there and do what you can. I feel the same way for a manager, especially something like United or something like that. I can see, eventually going into Palace, then Villa or something like that. 10 years down the road, he can bounce around all over the place because, people do a lot of retreading and all that kind of stuff. But United, Liverpool, these jobs come once in a blue moon. Well, United job comes often, a lot more often than the Liverpool job. Yeah. But, it's a rare chance to say, you know what, I'm going to roll the dice. This might never come my way again.
Well, it's not that McKenna's the one that shouldn't take it. It's that United shouldn't go for McKenna.
Yeah. If you're McKenna, you got to back yourself up.
Yeah, if I'm McKenna and I get that job, dude, I'm not even going to look at the contract. Whatever it is, I'm in.
Yeah.
It's the United that shouldn't look at McKenna. 39 years of age. We're watching the league with the most recycled managers ever. And we're watching the league with the oldest age average and manager just because of Roy Hodgson, who's gone now. But these guys are going around. If he doesn't get the job now, he shouldn't feel any sort of negativity about it. You're 39. You're moving to the Premier League. You're managing a club that you've promoted twice. Your chances are going to come. And if it's not at United, it's going to be at Chelsea. And listen, him and Newcastle would be a perfect love story, and I'm going to go on about that for so long, but we'll wait and see. I just don't think United should make that move just yet. Give him a couple of seasons in the Premier League and then go for him.
To be fair, though, United have tried all of them, right? They brought the experienced guy, Van Gaal and Mourinho. They brought the young up-and-comer and Ten Hag and stuff like that. There's a reason why it's not working.
So do you just rip it up?
Yeah, that's what I mean. There's a reason why it's not working. But will United do that? I mean, because you threw out the Rashford name. If you want to send a message to the fan base, and I love Rashford, one of the few guys I like on that squad as a person. But if you want to send a message, that's a guy, for example, you move out. Like somebody that's been there forever, that's part of the drama. You move those people out to say, yes, because just getting a new, fresh manager, I don't think is enough if you're just bringing into the same shit show.
There's a part here as well, which no one's speaking about because it hasn't been brought up often. The first thing you've got to make a decision on is Mason Greenwood. You have to make a decision.
I think they already made that decision and they're not going to bring him.
If you just sell him last year, you just release him from his contract.
But I thought they were just going to sell him. I don't think they're keeping. I thought I read that somewhere, like decision was made.
But until the decision's done, that's still a decision that has to be made until the decision's done. It's a bit like the Arne Slot thing, isn't it? Arne Slot might come in the first day of Liverpool and go, fucking hell, this looks good. And then Canate comes to him and go, I've had a fucking little bit of interest on PSG and I fancy you. And he goes, I haven't even watched you kick a football yet. Like, no, I am like.
Well, maybe they're gonna blame McKenna. McKenna wanted to keep him and give him a chance or something.
But I mean, there's big decisions to be made early doors. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's like massive, huge decisions to be made. That's why I think where Liverpool are going, Arne Slot's a head coach, and they really keep banging on this drum about a head coach. It's a new terminology. I will always call him a football manager because that's what I'm used to and that's what I will do. But he's the head coach, and Liverpool keep saying he's a head coach because we're making the other decisions and he's going to coach the team. That's what. So United might have to walk. He might walk into United and go, "Oh, by the way, Anthony's gone, Martial's gone, Greenwood's gone. We're going to fuck Rashford off to Spurs, Newcastle, whatever. We're going to." And do you know what I mean? You might look and go, "Oh, okay." And if they do that, you're taking the pressure off me. So if you're going to do it with Kenneth, you just call him a head coach, and you do what Liverpool do and go, "He's a head coach. He's not a manager. He's the head coach." Liverpool have been very clear that Arne Slot is a head coach and you're not getting the power that Jurgen Klopp had. Do you do that with McKenna? Do you do that and just get these lads out and go, we're making all the other decisions and put all the blame on us if you want to make those decisions? If Liverpool are not successful next year, so let's just say Liverpool make 5 signings and they're all a bit shit. We can all sit there and go, well, it's not really on the manager because he didn't make them. And at least that the pressure's off that part, you know what I mean? So maybe you can do that with a McKenna, maybe.
And
you know what I mean?
It does seem like they're going towards that because they poached the CEO of football at City. They poached one of the directors at Newcastle. Yeah. So it does look like they are going towards where the club will manage all these things under the new quote unquote ownership. So that's the question. Maybe McKenna is the right guy because he is going to be your only yes sir kind of guy. He's going to be the only one that says, fuck it, I'll be a head coach. Because I do not see Poch coming in and saying, okay, you do everything. Well, he did at Chelsea with Bowley, and he had no choice. But I don't know. We'll see. But the first person that gets out of that team is Harry Maguire. That man should be nowhere near a football pitch. Sell him back to Leicester.
I mean, and I think you're being harsh.
Actually, that's not a bad shot, but you're taking a huge loss.
I do think he's been improved since January. I think since he came in. But the one I always think, mate, with this change that you're mentioning, and with the Dan Ashworth and we're going to build like a team, and the manager is the Anthony deal. It's Anthony. Because Ten Hag, they're going to look and go, well, you wanted him, and he's fucking garbage. I'm going to find you 100 wingers who do the same thing as him. Do you know what I mean? So there's a part where you go, we can't waste that kind of money again, and we're just going to build, we have to do something different, and maybe McKenna's the difference. You know what I mean? Like, but again, it comes down to it. If you're doing McKenna, you got to get 9 out.
Yeah, but I mean, like, for example, Maguire has looked better because, I mean, they're playing Maguire ball. Like, they're defending. Maguire does great at a team that's going to defend and counter. Yeah. He can't play when it's a high line like they want to play, and, like they want to play attacking football. And that's why, anytime they try to play attacking football, somebody smacks them, and then they do something crazy when they just park the bus and play counter. But obviously their fans are not going to like that. Sergi says, I think the current top 4 break away from the rest. Spurs being toxic right now. See, honestly, I mean, Chelsea, maybe they did self-destruct by Rick. If Pochettino stayed, I would have put money on Chelsea being on top 4 next year.
I hate to compliment them, but they've been playing some good football over the last few weeks.
They gotten a lot better. And one thing is, like, when you look at Newcastle, who had, I mean, I know everybody does, but they had shitloads of injuries. I mean, a lot of injuries. So they're probably not going to go through the same mess. And Villa is a different story where it's easy to aim for something to go there. It's a lot easier to stay up there. And it's a different kind of pressure. Pressure that normally a Villa player is not used to.
Didn't Newcastle pick up a free agent, Lloyd Kelly from Bournemouth? Didn't they pick him up?
Wasn't he Liverpool, wasn't he?
Liverpool have been looking at him, and Newcastle picked him up. This is a team that is going to look good next season because they're going to strengthen that squad.
FFP issues, haven't they? They might have to do one big sale because they got FFP issues.
Newcastle. I think Gamerash or whatever he leaves. I think he's getting sold. That's the only money that can come in. It can come in for him.
Can we just do a swap deal with Darwin for Isaac, please? And go from
there? I will deliver him myself.
Whoa. Man,
I'll be his Uber that day.
Yeah. But I mean, like they have to do one big deal, Newcastle, but I agree. But there's clever bits of business that you can do. You know what I mean? Like this, again, I say it all the time. I want Liverpool to get back to that way when you just do like a Shaqiri for 2-3 years. Yeah. And then who contributes and helps you. And then
good news for you. Edwards is back in town to do those things.
Yeah, hopefully, you know what I mean. But it's like, again, I want clever bits of business. Going back to the Leicester thing, the first sign I would make is fucking Bobby Clark on loan, and just go, I'll take him. He looks fucking great for me. Like, do you know what I mean? If you're Leicester, you go, we'll take that Bobby Clark, mate, because he can do lots of bit of business for me. So there's things you can do. Jayden Danns is another one, wouldn't you? And go, I'll have Jayden Danns come off the bench for 15 games in the Premier League for Leicester, them doing nothing for Liverpool. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know, man. I just feel like I don't see a top 4 breakaway at all happening. I really don't.
I don't either. By the way, Ryan says they've been trying to get rid of Martial for 5 years. I think the issue is, I mean, here's the thing. For Martial, he's like, I'm not going anywhere unless they're paying the same wages. Why would you? If you're at a job and they're paying you a bazillion every month, and then they're like, hey, these guys really want you. That's cool. I want them too, as long as they paid the same amount of money. Like similar to what we ran into with Ox. People wanted Ox, but nobody was going to say pay the same wages that we are. So we kind of got stuck with him in that sense. And I think, Martial is just one of the many players that United has on that same boat. I mean, a bunch of teams from Turkey wanted to go get him, but it was one of those, but you guys are paying half the wages, right? Because we're not paying that. Nobody is going to pay those wages.
Didn't he go on loan to like Seville a couple of years ago?
Seville is where he went, yeah.
This is Seville, yeah. I remember he went on loan. And the reason why he went on loan is, guys, because no one's paying his fucking wages. So he's like, I'm still collecting me dough.
Just random fact, I'm a Sevilla fan when it comes to Spanish football. I'm a huge Sevilla fan. And the payout was Sevilla only paid 30% of his salary. United paid 70%. Because they said, mira, señor, no. And the United's like, just take him. 70%, we got you. And he was absolute ass, just for the record. But that's no surprise.
Yeah. Dude, you are disappointing, Percy, by the way, with your abandoning of Nunez.
20? I think he gets more than 20, but I'm now...
20?
I think he should. Yeah, he has to. He's our number 9. Let's wake up. If your number 9 is not getting 20, what the fuck? But it's not that I fell off. Listen, we lost so many chances to win the league, win other trophies because of our missed chances, and it breaks my heart. I know, and I know I argued and yelled, but it's just for the fun and the laugh of it. But if you know or if you see my tweets, you would see how angry I am as a human being when these misses are happening. And it hurts. It hurts. But let's not go there. Next season's going to be better. I still believe in him. He's got this. But if next season, halfway through the season, we're not scoring goals and we're not firing in all cylinders, change needs to happen. But listen, back to West Ham, because I do believe West Ham are going to have a good season next year. But they were relying on that Lucas Paqueta money. They were going to get 70, 80 million for him.
This is interesting.
And that deal was going to happen 2 days ago. They agreed personal terms 2 days ago. And then, with City, 70 million initial payment. And now that money's gone. So that's a very interesting bit of business that could have happened. That's not going to happen. So now I think West Ham are going to sell Jared Bowen because that's the only money that they can bring in. And I think Chelsea are interested. I think Spurs are interested. I think Newcastle are willing to put all their eggs in one basket for him. I was reading about it yesterday. Eddie Howe is willing to put all his eggs in one basket to get him. That includes selling Bruno. That includes making changes in the squad just to grab him. That's huge because West Ham, I still think Julian's going to do great. I just think he was relying on that money. And now I don't know what happens.
It makes sense. But there's an argument you do Kudus as well. You actually look at that team. The team's actually pretty darn good. Like there's a few good players, especially attacking the midfield. Like Ward-Prowse is a good bit of business. I know we fell out the team towards the end of this last season a little bit, but the Paqueta money's. This Paqueta thing's mad. I've seen the files that he's been charged for. Fuck me, fella. Like, can you make it?
Oh, really? I didn't see. I just saw
the one against Villa. He was about to be substituted. His person coming in for him, he sees him. He's like, "Fuck that! I gotta get this yellow." He just runs and pretty much just jumps and punches the guy. Like you could not be any more obvious.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah,
you could not be any more
obvious. I gotta
obvious.
go look. Yeah, I did not see I just saw the penalty. I did not see the charges or what he did to get it.
Yeah, there's 4 he's been charged with. It's either a 6 month. It's up to a 6 month or a lifetime ban from football.
So the report I read from the Daily Mail was a 10-year ban is what the league is discussing.
Which is what he's 20.
I saw that
because he did it over. Keep in mind he did it over 3 seasons, so it's not like they can just punish him over a 1 season thing. It's 3 seasons, so I don't know how they. Again, we've had this conversation. I don't know what the rules are to these things.
Roll the dice.
Yeah. 10 charges, you get 10 years. 115 charges, good job. So we don't know what's going on there, but it breaks my heart because he's one hell of a footballer.
Yeah,
he is. He's good.
That's why the question is why, Kazi? Why the fuck?
No, but me, I think about this all the time with these lads, especially South American lads and stuff like that. They're from very poor backgrounds and rough areas, Like you don't know.
But I can understand if you're doing it way back then. Like you got the money now,
but you don't know. But you don't know who these people are in your life.
I see what you mean.
Do you get what I'm saying? I don't want you. You can't speculate, but you don't know who these people are. There's rough places and rough people and bad people in the world, unfortunately, who can put pressure on you, who you might have known since you were a kid, and put a lot of pressure on you to do certain things. And
they said some of the betting was done by his friends, not him. He just gave them what they wanted, which was, I'm gonna put 50 grand on a yellow card, and because it's Lucas Paqueta, it's gonna pay out 150.
Yeah, so exactly.
He did it for friends. I don't know if he owes bad people money. I don't know. Like what Kazi's saying, and that side of you don't know who's making you do what.
You don't know. You don't know. That's exactly the point. We don't know, and we can't speculate. But all I'm saying is that again, I say it all the time. I remember when we're having it with the Saudi League now, and we had it with the China League a few years ago. And remember Alex Teixeira went to China and Oscar and players like that.
Hulk.
Because they're from very poor backgrounds, and they're getting offered fucking crazy money, and they've got fucking 50 people's mouths to feed. Do you know what I mean? It's not like, you're just looking after your family. You've got the whole family to feed. Bobby Firmino goes to Saudi and everyone still adores them. Do you know what I mean? Because we understand the Paqueta thing, it could be like that, mate. We just don't know, and we can't speculate, but he could be from a very poor background and a very poor area with very bad influences in his life, because other than that, I don't know why you would do it.
Fun fact, Oscar still in the Chinese league.
Is he there?
Is he really?
He's the captain too. He worked his way up to captain in the Chinese league. That's huge.
Some player. Honestly, he was great for
Right,
Chelsea.
he was like, I remember like Angie and I watched, I don't know even what it was, but U19, U21, whatever, playing
It was
for Brazil.
the
It
Olympics.
was like, holy cow! I mean, he looked like in that tournament with all
The
the
Confederations
best of
Cup. The Confederations Cup.
Yeah.
Was
Yes.
that what it
Yes.
was? Like
yes.
he looked like a man playing with boys. He was that good compared to everybody else. And then
One hell of a footballer, but money.
He was a
Alex,
young kid. But again, no one, you don't know your background, do you? We don't know people's personal situations. And he goes, well, I've got fucking kids and there's mums and there's aunties and there's uncles could be living in the fucking favelas for all we know. And I've got to get these guys out and I've been offered a contract to do that. So again, you just don't know people.
and you guys remember the joke we would make last summer is generational wealth. For these people, this is generational wealth.
Yeah.
Sorry, when you're a Bobby Firmino, even though you played for Liverpool, you're just getting 3 times more the money.
Exactly.
And you only have to sign a 2-year deal.
Yeah, but okay, I'm not comparing going to the Saudi League for money and cheating betting. Like, those are two different things.
You're saying the money and the money does.
No, I understand that, but I mean, do that. I mean, if you're gonna sell out, if it's really the money, then sell out and go
is
there.
more of an entrepreneur. Okay. He wanted to stay at top level football, but he wanted to do a side hustle. And honestly, you never know. He's got a contract at West Ham. He didn't get any offers to leave, or what. We could come up with a million stories, but he owes some bad people money. You really don't know.
Yeah. Look at Tonali. Look at Tonali.
Yeah.
Tonali's the same thing. 60 million quid. Fucking, and by the way, Milan definitely knew that was happening. Milan knew what was coming, because otherwise you wouldn't have sold them. And knew what was happening.
I don't do conspiracies, but we all know the influence of the mafia in Italian football.
Oh yeah.
They got the heads up in Milan. Just sell them. They sold them.
Berlusconi was nuts, weren't he? When he in charge there for years, weren't he?
Yeah.
And it's like,
this is the prime minister in charge of a football club.
Exactly. Like, oh, it's coming, baby.
West Ham will like just take Paqueta for 30 million to City. No, that looks a bit cheap. No, it's fine. 30 million's good. Yeah.
Do it. It's good.
I love it, I love when stuff like that happens, when you just know, innit? Like when someone's injured and go to another club and you get injured and you're like, well, yeah, he was finished at that club.
I want to be in the meeting room when Newcastle finds out, though. They're like, those assholes.
When Tonali went to Newcastle, I swear I have like 40 million red flags. And gambling wasn't one of them. I was like, listen, he's got a bad injury. He's about to come up with some crazy allegations of assault or something. I thought of everything.
Yeah.
But gambling for an Italian, this is not even in their culture. Like, what is he doing? Who does he owe money to? Like, what the fuck?
But yeah, again, these kind of things happen.
Yeah, it's just great. But I mean, is it because they're cracking down more? It feels like it's happening more, right?
Yeah.
I think it's easier to track. I think
maybe because it goes more like instead of behind the scenes and under the table, it's more.
Well, if you actually look at this for a second, there's a lot of betting sponsorships in the Premier League. If a betting company's paying out a lot of money to South America on fucking a player to get a yellow card, all the betting company has to do is call the Premier League and go, "This is a bit weird." But we've had guys here. Fucking Paqueta's had 4 bookings this year, and the 4 bookings he's fucking had, he paid out fucking $500,000. Do you know what I mean? It's very simple to do.
Well,
that's how dirty the Premier League is. Sorry,
in the US,
how dirty the league is, though, innit, bro? Like, because the betting clubs are in with the Premier League. It's all fucking filthy and horrible, and they just make a phone call and go, "This doesn't look right." You know what I mean? Ivan Toney's doing this, and this doesn't look right in Tonali. It's just all.
In the US, a lot of the sports betting people say Vegas always wins in sports. And listen, is it a conspiracy or not? I don't know. I don't know how to even bet on things because I see numbers and I'm so confused. But does Vegas have a say in American sports? Absolutely. Do the betting companies have a say in the Premier League? Newcastle are sponsored by Bet365 or Betway, whatever it is. You don't expect their best player to use the company that sponsors them? Hello? Frederic Canute, when he played for Sevilla, he's a very devout Muslim. He refused to wear the betting company because he said, this is against my religion. It is also going to encourage people in my poor country to see this and start betting. What do you think Lucas Paqueta does?
Papa Cisse did the same thing for Newcastle.
Papa Cisse did the same thing for Newcastle,
Yes.
Yes.
I couldn't think of his name. Yeah.
What is it, like another 2 seasons? And afterwards, they're getting rid of all the betting sponsorships, right?
Yeah, that's the rumor, and I'm doing something for Ryan right now. So I do believe, yeah. It's just like what Liverpool are doing. They A lot of people were betting that Thiago's going to be injured, so
Stop. Let Ryan get his kneecaps done.
Let him get his kneecaps done. You know what, Ryan? Some bad people here want you to get hurt. So.
He just got a text.
Yeah. What a tough way for me, man.
Before we go, should we talk about the England squad with young Gerald Kwanzaa?
Oh God, yeah, I wanted to get to that. Yeah, are you guys more shocked that Harvey is not on there and Jones is? Is it just more familiarity?
Does anyone know who the England captain is?
Harry Maguire.
Harry Kane.
Oh yeah, Harry Kane.
Did anyone remember what Harvey Elliott did on Instagram a couple of years ago to Harry Kane? Harry Kane taking the piss out of him about the way he speaks and shit. Does anyone remember that? Like, that's how I always think.
Now that you say
it. Think that's why?
Now that you say it, 1 + 1 = 2.
Hey, Anand loves a conspiracy, doesn't he? Anand loves a conspiracy.
That's it. I'm just about to tweet that fucking Harry Kane. I'm just.
You know what I mean? I don't know. Listen, I think the Jones ones, and Jones, since he came back from his latest injury, hasn't been great, and I'm his biggest fan. But listen, he's also a player. This is also the 33-man squad.
Yeah, this is not the squad. Yeah,
it's 26, but there's also a part where he hasn't picked Henderson and Rashford, which is like Gareth Southgate absolutely went rogue, like proper rogue for, you know what I mean? Like the most standard plain pasta dinner kind of manager is Gareth Southgate, and you know exactly most predictable fella ever has went absolute rogue on you. But no, happy for Gerald Kwanzaa as well, completely deserved.
Yeah,
like what a footballer. Super pleased, and if he gets picked, fantastic.
The question is, putting a young fella like Kwanzaa in that squad, and then 2 weeks later cutting him, does that do more negative?
No, definitely not. No, I think it's more, mate, of like this is the level you've got to get to, and I think you'll appreciate the experience. I think that's the same with Jones as well. I think you'll kind of go well, but I also think Jones has more of a chance than Kwanzaa to go. I think Jones.
I think so.
For Kwanzaa.
And I think if he was 28, 29 on, I can see what you're saying. But with the age they're in, they're like, hey, you know, you're like, I'm going to be, you as a player going back home, you can say, one day I'm going to be a regular there. I'm almost there. I think that's kind of like a last drive you need personally. If you were 28, 29, you might think that was my last chance and now I'm done.
It's more of a story cutting Rashford out the 33 than picking him.
I think so, yeah.
Go, oh my God, how bad was he in training for 2 weeks there? You know what I mean? He must have been shit. When you just go, no, he hasn't been good enough this season. I'm not even going to get involved with the news headlines, which is clever from Southgate.
Yeah.
But I think with these younger kids, by the way, I still think there's a chance that Kwanzaa goes because I think Maguire's injured for tomorrow. I think Maguire's out for tomorrow for the cup final.
And there isn't really any names at center back for the national team outside of Joe Gomez if he plays center back that he would be competing with.
Yeah, you'd be Stones and Gomez. Stones and Maguire, and then you look at Gomez,
Branthwaite and Gomez and Maguire.
You know what I mean? So this part, but if Maguire's injured, then you actually look at Kwanzaa and go, fucking, I might be on the plane. Might not play a minute, but he might be on the plane, which would be great for him. It'll be great for him. Do you know what I mean?
Trent, that's center back. Done.
Trent is listed as a midfielder in the national team. That's it. That's it. It's done.
Don't get me started.
It's
okay,
done.
On the way out. Predictions for tomorrow. Kazi, go.
Honestly, this could be any score. I'll go 4-2 City. Just have a bit of a mad one again. 4-2 City. But by the way, United can't concede in the first 15 seconds like last year.
Yeah, that'd be a good tip.
I'll do a 3-1 City.
Yeah, I don't
City just, especially after the news coming out, their manager doesn't even give a shit anymore. He's just going in there because he has to. You know, like Jurgen just showed up to the press conference because he had to. Yeah, that's
I'm a big fan of like Ten Hag just picking all the lads he likes, like a bit like Jurgen Klopp did in his last couple of games. I'm going to pick these lads because I quite like them. And I hope Ten Hag does something like that. He just seems like something completely mad. Like Anthony's just definitely playing, isn't he? Anthony's got to start, Danny. You know, I like him.
Weird question. Just sorry. If United win tomorrow in classy fashion, do they let Ten Hag stay?
No. Absolutely not. Why?
I don't think so, especially if you line somebody up. But it would make it, if I'm Ten Hag, I think it's more in your face because it will make it harder and you at least go out
with a bang.
United looks worse than you do if you go out with a trophy win, I think. Right?
United have got 60 points this year, lost 14 games in the league and finished on -1 goal difference. Man United.
The minus goal difference by itself, I think, is ridiculous.
That's absolutely embarrassing, isn't it? Like, that's how bad it is. That's why Palace fuck you 4-0. Do you know what I mean? When Palace batter you 4-0. But again, I just think it's nice. But it's also a good thing for Ten Hag to go. I've won 2 trophies in 2 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's why I was asking the question earlier. I mean, like, you could go back and he can be like, dude, I'm winning trophies here. I know we suck, but, you know.
Yeah. And there's a part, you know what I mean? But there's also a part, I think they were like 8 to 10 points off the top 4. It's just... And by the way, the group that they got knocked out the Champions League from was a fucking group. It was a Bayern, Copenhagen, and Galatasaray.
Yeah.
And
it almost looked like a shoe-in, and maybe that was the problem, I guess.
It's just not.
Yeah, I'm going with the 4-1.
The last thing we can mention about United is the semi-final, the Coventry game. That's the nail in the coffin. Carragher says it. I remember Jamie Carragher saying it.
It almost pains me that we probably
they got Coventry.
Lost the title to the stupid team with getting stuck in that FA Cup game, derailed the whole fucking...
I suppose we are a Liverpool good podcast. We may as well talk about Liverpool for a second. But yeah, not beating United 3 times this season is probably the one that kills us.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know,
that kind of hurts. The more we talk how shit they are,
that's Ten Hag's biggest achievement this season.
Gave the season to them. It sucks. But hey, enjoy the game tomorrow, everybody, and enjoy the weekend. We'll be back. Actually, you know what? No, we'll be back Sunday with our Premier League review show.
A little special.
A little special with everybody and their brother is what I saw. So we'll try to get everybody in, get everybody's goal of the season, player of the season, all that kind of stuff. It should be a good old time. But we'll see you guys then on Sunday. Until then, enjoy your weekend, everybody. Take care.